4 things I've learned in therapy that may have encouraged me to start therapy sooner if I had known them before starting therapy. One is that even though I have a generalized anxiety disorder diagnosis, that does not mean that I just randomly have anxiety. Every single thing that causes me anxiety, I have now been able to link to trauma. I thought for years that having anxiety just meant you are anxious when you shouldn't be, when in reality, for me at least, it's all trauma. Even when it doesn't seem like a direct thing, I'm scared of things I don't have direct trauma from, attachment trauma or other things at the root of it. 2, social anxiety basically comes from my blueprint of what to expect from people being set by my caregivers. So again, basically attachment trauma. But I used to think things like, why am I afraid of returning something at the store, speaking to the customer service person and doing a return, when I've never had somebody be so cruel to me. I mean, I have had people be kind of rude, but not enough to where I should have significant anxiety over this. And so I thought, well, then this can't be trauma because this specific thing hasn't been something I've experienced. But if you have emotionally unpredictable parents, you're probably going to tend to assume anybody and everybody can be emotionally unpredictable, until they prove that they're not that way. You tend to assume that any random person is going to be like your parents until you learn otherwise. And for me, that made me afraid of a lot of people. 3, therapy, at least good therapy, can help you even when you already know that something is illogical. So I used to think, well, I'm afraid of, I'll just use the same example. I'm afraid of returning things at the customer service desk, but I know that I don't need to be afraid of that. So I thought, well, therapy can't really help me with that because I already have insight into how I don't need to be afraid, and this person isn't really going to harm me or scream at me or anything that I was afraid of. And so then I just thought, if you have insight into your problems already, then therapy can't really help you. And that's not true. Some therapists might be only to get you that far, but other therapists can help you when you have that misalignment in how you feel or what you emotionally know and what you logically know. And that was a big one for me because as an intellectualizer, there's a whole lot of areas of my life where I have that discrepancy of, I know this is illogical, but I still feel XYZ. 4, flashbacks are a kind of pretty normal, not as extreme as they might sound kind of a thing. You don't have to be visually flashing back to anything. You don't have to even consciously be recalling a specific memory. You can feel like you are in the present. A lot of people with emotional flashbacks say, I suddenly feel like I'm 10 years old. I've never understood that. I don't have that experience of ever suddenly feeling like a child. Regardless, my point is, emotional flashbacks just mean that you're having emotion in the current moment that is actually from your past. And that can happen without it being very obvious to you that you're actually having a flashback. Emotional flashbacks, at least for me, they seem relatively subtle. It feels like I'm just having a really big response to something that happened here in the present, and it doesn't have anything to do with the past, but that's not true. I've basically come to realize that anytime it feels like I'm having a huge reaction to a small thing in the present, that's an emotional flashback, and it doesn't always hit you in the face with. If you've learned things in therapy that would have helped you want to start therapy sooner, leave me a comment and let me know what yours are.